Okay, today, October 17th, 2024, it's our 67th meeting, Reading Urantia Book with Heidi. Today, we are going to read the foreword of the Urantia Book. This is a very important undertaking. We hope everything works well, and because we want to understand more about the Supreme Being. That's why we want to read the concept, learn about definition of some important terminology. 今天是10月17日，2024年，我们按进度是要读第3部分的神之至高者，但是因为里边有一些的名词就是定义我们不太了解，所以我们决定先读这个前言《月下之书》前言，因为前言的部分对一些的月下之书特有的名词有一些定义，所以我们决定从前言开始读。Okay, Heidi. Yes, you can.
Greetings, Urantia Book readers and people of the future. We've been reading the end of the book. We want to basically start with the book 4, the life and teachings of Jesus, but we decided we should also read about the thought adjuster. That we actually want to begin with that rather than read the book through from the beginning, just because I think these are such important papers and so enjoyable. But to read the thought adjusters and to work your way to the Christ Michael papers, books, the book of Jesus, this book 4, you end up reading about some other interesting things about the angels and your guardian angels and the seraphic government. And now we're at paper 115, the Supreme Being, which is right before and then the Almighty Supreme, and then God the Supreme, right before the bestowals of Christ Michael, which is the life of Jesus. And this is a very difficult concept for Urantians, earthlings, to understand. The Supreme Being is a concept that's really unique to the Urantia Book. I mean, someone somewhere may have talked about it, but I've never heard it anywhere else. It's a very unique and pretty difficult thing to understand. So Ricky suggested we, or maybe some others in our group suggested that we read the foreword to have a better understanding of the Supreme Being before we read paper 115, that we skip back to the foreword because it explains some of this stuff in the very beginning of the book. Now, the foreword is also hard to understand, and it's difficult. So bear with us. We're going to read the foreword, and then we're going to skip back. After we finish this the foreword of the book, which you won't do in one session, we're going to skip back to the Supreme Being and read that paper 115. And then we'll be into the teachings of Jesus, which is just another 700 and something pages, which is just a narrative, easy to follow, easy to grasp, easy on your brain cells, but the most enlightening and inspiring story the world has ever seen. So it's pretty wonderful to read. Okay, that being said.
Okay.
Oh, I forgot you have to translate.
对，我们提出是说，因为有4部分嘛，我们本来是想就一开始就进入第4部分哈，耶稣的生平和教导。但是呢，我们又想呢，就是了解一些预染下之书特有的概念，然后我们想着，思想调整者这个概念是比较特别的，预染下之书比较特别的部分，我们就读那一部分。又读到天使护卫天使然后天使行星政府然后再继续往下，又是玉书另外一个很特别的地方，讲到神之至高者。 Supreme Being，然后呢，就是第3部分最后边，然后最后边大概119篇还是120，就是讲到那个耶稣的赠语，他就是他的第7次赠语，那个再接到第4部分去了。然后呢，神之至高者这个概念呢，对我们预览下人也是比较难理解的一个概念，也是玉书特别的一个提到的一个很重要的点。然后我们就是对，就像刚才有很多的概念是那个前面前3部分，尤其是前言当中，他给出一些定义，也许对我们理解这神之至高者比较有帮助，所以我们是想把前言再读了，然后再进入115篇神之至高者，然后再进入700页的第4部分耶稣的生平教导。那第4部分应该对我们脑细胞就比较友好一些了。OK。
我有个建议，就是读第4部分之前，我不知道海蒂愿不愿意，先带我们读一下21章，就是造物之子，讲那个就是迈克尔圣子的起源和他的，就是介绍迈克尔圣子那章，不知道海蒂怎么想
？Heidi， Heidi。
Yes.
Shirley has a suggestion that before we read the 4th part of Urantia book, whether or not we can actually first read the chapter 21 or paper 21. That
chapter 21, the Creator's Song.
Oh, that's a good idea.
就是迈克尔之子的起源，是这个意思吗？
对，迈克尔圣子，天堂造物之子。
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, I love that chapter, the 21, very much.
I love that idea. Do you like it? Do you like that idea, Ricky?
天堂造物之子的起源。Okay, yeah, sure.
天堂 in introduction of Creator Song.
Creator Song.
Yeah, 造物之子。
造物之子的起源。
对。
Okay, yeah. Okay, let's do that then.
Okay, that's right. That's the plan.
Okay, 那就是海蒂也同意，就是我们到时候读第4部分之前呢，读那个天堂造物之子的起源，那个是第21篇，应该是第1部分的。Okay.
We may be setting a whole new. We may be inventing a whole new way of reading the Urantia book that other people will follow. Makes so much sense.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Just we follow the leading of the Holy Spirit.
The Holy Spirit's telling us a new way to read this book. That makes a lot of sense. Okay.
对，我们就看圣灵怎么引导我们，我们就是自己发明我们自己的阅读顺序。Okay.
All right. So forward. In the minds of the mortals of Urantia, that being the name of your world, there exists great confusion respecting the meaning of such terms as God, divinity, and deity. Human beings are still more confused and uncertain about the relationships of the divine personalities designated by these numerous appellations. Because of this conceptual poverty associated with so much ideational confusion, I have been directed to formulate this introductory statement in explanation of the meanings which should be attached to certain word symbols, as they may be hereinafter used in those papers which the Orvantan Corps of Truth Revealers have been authorized to translate into the English language of Urantia. And I said wait because I wanna see who wrote this. I want to see who the author is of the foreword. Probably a divine counselor. Let me see. It is, hang on, wait. Yeah, it's a divine counselor. Indicted by an Orvantan divine counselor, chief of the corps of super universe personalities assigned to portray on Urantia the truth concerning the paradise deities and the universe of universes. Okay, so this is the big shot guy who is in charge of I don't envy him his job. Oh, I'll let you translate.
前言是由那个神圣顾问写的，神圣顾问是不是就是我们的超级宇宙那个那个奥温顿真理启示者团队的头，他写的这个介绍或者引言前言。申丽，要不要你来读那个翻译的部分？
前言在预染下，这是你们世界的名字的凡人心智中，对于神、神性和神灵等术语的含义有很大的混淆。关于这些众多名称所指定的神性人格关系，人类则更加困惑和含糊。由于这种概念的贫乏，加上观念的混乱，我奉命制定这个介绍性声明，以解释某些文字符号所应有的含义，因为这些文字符号可能会在此后由经授权的奥温顿真理启示者团队翻译成预染下英语的文件中使用。
Do I want to know what Chen Li said?
It's just the Chinese translation of the first paragraph.
Oh. Okay. So I just wanted to say that it looks like there was about 25, more or less 25 celestial personalities, different orders of beings, Melchizedek's, archangels, divine counselors, mighty messengers, different types of or different orders of beings that were assigned to write this book. And it looks like they had different people and different personalities in charge of different concepts in the book. Like the midwayers were in charge of the Jesus papers, the book 4. And it looks like they have, this is a divine counselor. He's chief of the corps of super universe personalities assigned to portray the truth concerning the paradise deities and the universe of universes. So it looks, I don't think this guy was in charge of the whole Urantia book, but he was in charge of portraying the paradise deities and the universe of universes. So that's such a hard concept to explain to us to begin with, right? We're like these lowly mortal beings who know basically almost nothing. And this is this extremely highly evolved spirit. Well, I don't even think they're evolved. I think they're created spiritual being trying to teach us in our language concepts of deity and the universe, how the universe is. So this is the guy in charge of that, and he's the one who wrote the foreword.
预言下之书有大概25位灵界存有，不同类别的灵界存有，写作的，像麦基瑟德系列啊，然后大天使长啦，还有这个神圣顾问啦，这个都属于 不同的类别的，然后中道者呢是负责这个第4本书的写作的。那么这个神圣顾问他就是奥温顿，我们的超级宇宙真理启示者团队他的首领。他是就是也是参与了一部分的《玉海厦之书》的写作。那对我们这个凡人来讲，就是对语言啊什么的都理解力都很有限。那么像神圣顾问他这么一个很高进化的灵性成员，要给我们用我们的语言来讲述那个这个灵性的概念啊，像神灵啊、神性啊这些的概念，还要借用我们的语言。
And I say I don't envy him his job, because that's about the hardest job you could ever have. It's like explaining nuclear physics to a 5-year-old.
我一点不羡慕他的工作，因为他的工作太难了，就像给一个幼儿园的孩子解释原子和物理。
So I can imagine they were in a meeting, and the Ancients of Days said, "Okay, you're assigned to, you're in charge of explaining the deities and the universe of universes to these Urantians." And he probably said, "Oh, thanks a lot, thanks a lot."
对，你可以想象那亘古常在这，在会上跟神圣顾问说 ，OK， 你要负责，就是给这些的凡人来讲关于神灵的概念啊。那个神圣顾问肯定说，OK， 谢谢你，谢谢你。他就是说反讽的意味，就是说你把这么难的工作交给我，谢谢你。
Okay, so I don't know if divine counselors have our same sense of humor, but
对，他说不知道神圣顾问是不是也是这么有幽默感。
Okay, so okay, so I think the first paragraph is pretty self-explanatory. I don't think I need to explain it.
第一段应该都是比较好理解的，我大概不需要做进一步的解释。
Okay, so the second paragraph, it is here, this is what I was talking about.
Yes.
It is exceedingly difficult to present enlarged concepts and advanced truth in our endeavor to expand cosmic consciousness and enhance spiritual perception when we are restricted to the use of a circumscribed language of the realm. But our mandate admonishes us to make every effort to convey our meanings by using the word symbols of the English tongue. We have been instructed to introduce new terms only when the concept to be portrayed finds no terminology in English which can be employed to convey such a new concept partially or even with a more or less distortion of meaning. Okay, Shenli.
OK， 在我们努力扩大宇宙意识和提高灵性感知的过程中，如果我们迫于使用领域内的一种限定的语言，那就很难提出扩展的概念和高深的真理。但我们的指令要求我们尽一切努力使用英语的文字符号来表达我们的意涵。我们奉命，只有当所要描述的概念在英语中找不到可以用来部分表达这种新概念的术语，或者用现成的术语，甚至会或多或少的造成意涵扭曲时，才能引入新的术语。
And what this means is basically that they were told use. Okay, the book was going to be first published it was first written in English. So they were told use English words as much as you can to explain these things. But you see how difficult that is because we don't have the words for what he's trying to explain. So this is his problem. He's trying to explain things in a language that doesn't have words for what he's trying to explain. So what they said is, don't just introduce, so you would be tempted to just introduce new words like Melchizedek and Urantia and Agendantar. These are all new words that are only introduced in the book because there is no English word. But they're told not to do that unless they absolutely have to. They said, even if it means that the meaning they're trying to convey is going to be distorted a little bit, that's better than introducing a whole bunch of new words that these people won't understand. That's what that's saying.
对，第二段那个意思就是因为这个是用英文写作的嘛，那就是尽量用英文当中现有的词汇，即使他们只能部分的表达这个概念，就是只有到真的是现成的术语啊造成扭曲啊，或者完全就没有表达相应概念的词的时候，才引入新的词汇。
So what they end up with is using our words, and maybe sometimes they have to use them in new ways that have never been done before. So when they say spirit of truth, they may mean something different than people think it means. So they're trying to use our words, but maybe enlarge the concepts.
对，并且他有的时候是用我们的词儿，但是用扩展了的一个概念，赋予新的一个含义，比如说真理之灵。
Okay, next paragraph. In the hope of facilitating comprehension and preventing confusion on the part of every mortal who may peruse these papers, we deem it wise to present in this initial statement an outline of the meanings to be attached to numerous English words which are to be employed in designation of deity and certain associated concepts of the things, meanings, and values of universal reality. And I'll read the next. But in order to formulate this forward of definitions and limitations of terminology, it is necessary to anticipate the usage of these terms in the subsequent presentations. This forward is not, therefore, a finished statement within itself. It is only a definitive guide designed to assist those who shall read the accompanying papers dealing with deity and the universe of universes, which have been formulated by an Arbantan commission sent to Urantia for this purpose. Okay.
为了促进理解，并避免每一个可能研读这些文献的凡人产生混淆，我们认为在这篇序言中列出许多词语的含义大纲是明智的。这些词语将被用于指定神灵和某些宇宙实相的事物、意义和价值有关的概念。但是为了制定这篇定义和术语限定的前言，有必要预测这些术语在后续介绍中的使用。因此，这篇前言本身并非一个完整的陈述，它只是一个定义指南，旨在帮助那些关于神灵和诸宇宙之随附文件的读者。这些文献是由一个为此目的派往预然下的奥温顿委员会制定的。
Okay, now that basically he's explaining why this is a foreword instead of an actual part of the book. He's saying because this foreword is really not, it's not so much telling us anything as offering it's acting as a guide for people who want to read further, who want to read the book. So it's giving us, it's acting as a guide to help us understand the following papers.
这两段啊，就是说这个前言呢，它只是提供一个指导，就是给那些想读的人哈，就是一个大略的这个含义的这个引介啊，这样的话，大家读后面的文章的时候就会容易一些。
So because they had to use English words to explain things that we don't even know of in our English language, they had to use our words sometimes in different ways to give our words new meanings. And this forward is trying to let us know how it's a it's an initial statement, and out to present in this initial statement an outline of the meanings to be attached to numerous English words, which so that's what they're attempting to do, to let us know ahead of time how they're using our words and the new meanings they're attaching to them.
对，这个英文词呢，就是它借用英文词，有的时候但是往往它会赋予新的意义。那么这个引介，它也就具体的就是给一些的大纲，就是这样的新的意义是什么。
So when we're reading this book, we should keep that in mind, that although they're using our language, they're attaching new meanings to many of the words they're using.
所以我们读的时候啊，也要就是时时提醒自己，虽然他们试图用我们的语言，但是这些语言往往被赋予了新的意义。
Okay, your world, Urantia, is one of, I guess everyone knows who's listening to this that Urantia means planet Earth. I think everyone who's reading the Urantia book knows that, but just in case, your world, Urantia, planet Earth, is one of many similar inhabited planets which comprise the local universe of Nebadon. This universe, together with similar creations, makes up the super universe of Orvantan, from whose capital, Uversa, our commission hails. Orvantan is one of the 7 evolutionary super universes of perfection, of time and space, which circle the never beginning, never ending creation of divine perfection, the central universe of Havona. At the heart of this eternal and central universe is the stationary Isle of Paradise, the geographic center of infinity and the dwelling place of the eternal God.
你们的世界预览下是构成内巴顿地方宇宙的许多类似的已居住行星之一。这个宇宙与其他类似造物一起构成了奥温顿超级宇宙。我们的委员会就来自其首都尤沃萨。奥温顿是围绕无始无终的神圣完美造物哈沃纳中央宇宙的7个时空进化超级宇宙之一。在这个永恒中央宇宙的中心是静止的天堂岛，是无限的地理中心和永恒之神的居住地。
Okay, I think that's pretty clear too. And now I'll read a very small, the last small paragraph, and then I'll go right into the first section and read the first 2 paragraphs of that. So
这一段是非常的好懂的，然后就是再读下一小段。
okay. The 7 evolving super universes, in association with the central and divine universe, we commonly refer to as the grand universe. These are the now organized and inhabited creations. They are all a part of the master universe, which also embraces the uninhabited but mobilizing universes of outer space. Now, section 1, deity and divinity. The universe of
等一下，先把这一小段 Yeah, we read the translation first. The small paragraph, last paragraph. 沈丽，你把这一段
Okay.
OK，我们通常把7个进化超级宇宙与中央神圣宇宙一起称为大宇宙。这些是现在已组织和已居住的造物，它们都是主宇宙的一部分。主宇宙还包括未居住但在调集的外部空间宇宙。OK。
Even though that's very clear, I'll just explain it because it's so important to understand when reading the whole book, that they're basically saying there's the Isle of Paradise in the middle, there's Havona surrounding the Isle of Paradise, and there's 7 super universes surrounding Havona. Now, we're in one of those super universes, or Vantan, but these 7 super universes have been planned, designed, and they're already inhabited. Not completely. They're not completely inhabited, but they're largely inhabited. So they're evolving. So they call this the grand universe. So we're part of the grand universe, but there are enormous sections beyond the grand universe of out, they call it outer space, that are being formulated, being planned, being organized, totally uninhabited. They're not even made into separate universes yet. We don't even know how many, probably thousands and thousands of super universes. I mean, they never tell us how far it goes, because I don't think anyone even writing these papers knows how far. There seems to be no end to creation, and there seems to be only one God in all of creation. But all of creation would mean the master universe. That means everything. But the grand universe is the planned and designed 7 super universes surrounding Paradise and Havona, where we live.
对，它就是由着最后一弹哈，就是把那个层次，宇宙的层次啊，再捋一遍。那中间是那个天堂岛嘛，天堂岛周围就是那哈瓦那中央宇宙，然后之后再周围就是7个超级宇宙。我们就是第7个超级宇宙叫奥温顿啊。那么这7个超级宇宙呢，都是被很好的计划啦、设计啦，然后住人啦。有生命就居住啦，然后在进化当中，然后还有在还有更广大的区域是更大的外部空间宇宙，然后正在形成当中。那么，对，前面中央宇宙和7个超级宇宙，那么叫大宇宙。那么在大宇宙外围呢，还有一些没有住人的正在形成的那个宇宙的部分呢，然后合在一块儿呢，跟大宇宙合在一块儿叫主宇宙。那主宇宙那得多大呢？就是没完没了的，没有，但是这些都是由一个神来创造的。
of everything in the Urantia book, the hardest thing for me, Heidi, to understand is eternity and infinity, right? Like, how could the universe have no end? How could something have no end? How could God have no beginning? How could he have always existed? So I just constantly want to say, well, when did he start? What was before him? How did he start? But how could something always have existed? How could a universe have no end? But when you think of it logically, if it did have an end, then you would have to say, well, what's beyond the end? What if it ends? What's on the other side of the wall? You know. So, like, if God did have a beginning, then you'd have to say, well, what was before him, right? So, infinity and eternity actually make more sense than having an ending and a beginning, because then you would always be saying what was before it or what was after it. But to me, that whole thing is just very difficult to wrap my head around.
对我来说，我很难想象的概念就是永恒啊、无限啊，怎么可能是没有开头也没有结尾？总是存在。那么，后来我想这么表述神的存在的实质实相，也是非常合理的。因为人如果是你告诉他有一个结尾，那么他总是会说，哎，结束之后呢？结束之后又怎么样？或者是有一个开始，那么在没开始之前是什么样的？就从逻辑上讲，人就会这样无限的探究，所以就是无始无终啊，无边无际啊，没有无限的概念，还是对，是必要的表达神的概念。
But you know, Urantians, mortals, we are finite beings. So our life does end. We are born. Our life does have a beginning. We absolutely start at a certain point, even though our spirit, the spirit of God, is eternal. But we as an entity really do have a beginning. And then as a mortal, we have an end, not as an entity necessarily, but as a mortal being, we have an end. So we're used to thinking that way. I think that when we go to the Urantia worlds and we no longer die a physical death, I think then it will be much easier for me and others like me to grasp the idea of infinity and eternity. But right now, because I'm in a finite body and on a finite world, I think it's much harder.
对，那么对我们一个在受时空限制的这个凡人来说，我们尤其是我们这个凡人肉身哈，它的确有一个出生，有一个结束。虽然我们里边的上帝之灵是永恒的，那么所以在我们的凡人阶段就很难去测度关于无限性的永恒的概念。那么下一个生命阶段，当我们在灵智体的时候，不再经历肉身的死亡的时候，也许我们会对这些概念有更深的理解。那么现在我们在一个有限的身体和有限的世界里很难把握这个永恒的概念。
So I could go on and on about that, but I won't.
对。
Infinity and eternity. I have a lot of questions, a lot of ideas, but I won't go into it right now.
对，我对永恒啊，对无限的概念还是有很多的，那我就很多的疑问，还是不继续往那个方向去了。
Okay, section 1, deity and divinity. The universe of universes presents phenomena of deity activities on diverse levels of cosmic realities, mind meanings, and spirit values. But all of these ministrations personal or otherwise, are divinely coordinated.
看，你来读那个中文翻译哈，这第一节的好吗？
一点意思呢？神性和神灵和神性，诸宇宙之宇宙在宇宙实相，心智意涵和属灵价值的不同层次上展现神灵活动的现象，但所有这些活动，个人的或其他的，都是神圣协调的。
So this is just saying, I see what you're doing. Let's take it one little sentence at a time here. Right? Don't read too much. This is intense stuff. Okay. So this is actually pretty straightforward. That they're saying that deity and divinity, they're saying that deity, which is like godlike stuff, is not just, there isn't just a God, there's godlike activities. There's activities of God. There's purpose and meaning and emanations of God on diverse levels of cosmic realities. So there's deity in mind meanings, there's deity in spirit values, but all of these ministrations, so deity is administering, is serving all these different areas, personal or otherwise. So not just in the person, but even in, when they say or otherwise, what does that mean? That means maybe in general, in the cosmic mind, maybe there's deity in the atmosphere, or maybe in the gravity, we don't know, but they're saying it's beyond personal. But they're saying no matter where it is and how it appears, it's always divinely coordinated. So that means that it's coordinated. This deity that's sort of everywhere, infusing all kinds of aspects of reality, they're saying it's not just random, it's coordinated by divine beings, God and his perfect associates. That's what they're saying. It's always coordinated. It's not random. It's purposeful.
对。那么这第一段哈，就是神灵和神性。第一段，对，就是它这个 deity 这个概念，它不光是一个个人的概念，还有一个神格，还包括神灵活动这些的活动，这个并且这些活动啊，这些人格呀，这展现的这个实相啊，都是协调的，这是神圣的协调的，就是有目的性的。
So I think the best one way to understand that is, you're saying it's the difference between, let's say God, there's deity, there's some kind of godlike presence in aside from the thought adjuster, in the cosmic mind, or in mind circuits, or and what they're saying, it's not just there. That means God is actually administering it, is actually giving us that godlike. He gives it to us. It's not just there. It's a gift. It's coordinated. He's serving us. He's not just sprinkling it out in the cosmic and saying, okay, now God is everywhere. No, he's ministering to all these different areas.
是神灵啊，像思想调整者呀、宇宙心智啊这些回路啊， 那么它不光是给我们作为一个礼物，像思想调整者作为礼物，它还协调运作，就通过一些回路啊，在不断的服务我们。
And this concept is one of the most unique concepts of the Urantia book. This is what separates it, the Urantia book, from Buddhism and Taoism and all the New Age religions. They're saying those religions are saying, well, God, there's like a godlike presence. There's like a supreme presence. There's like everything is everything. Love is everywhere. Which it may be true, but the difference between that and the Urantia book says, no, there's an actual person, and his name is God, and he's actually putting everything everywhere. When you feel God's presence, it is actually him you're feeling. It's not just a godlike presence. It's not just love just happens to be everywhere. No, it's him actually loving you. When you feel love, it's God loving. It's him. It's not just there. He's loving. It's a verb. It's not just a noun. And that really, that's why the Urantia book is connected to the Bible and the Hebrew religion and the religion of Abraham, because it's a one God. It talks about a one God. There's many gods, but there's one main God, God the Father. So that's the difference between this book and all these other New Age religions. It's a purposeful, intentional God who's in charge of everything and who is loving us.
这个就是预言下之书特别的概念。那么不同于像佛教啊、道教啊，或者是新时代的宗教啊，总是说好像有一个神一样的存在啊，高超的一个存在。那么，而预言下之书说的是一个神格，是一个实际上的人，就是他把这个爱，分赐到他的造物当中。神爱我们，神就是他这个，它是一个动词，而不是一个名词。那么它是跟那个像圣经啊、希伯来的宗教啊一样，是宣传一个独一的真神，那就是万有之父呢，就是他是有目的的一个神。
Okay, I'm going to read the next paragraph and then the seven items that are connected with it. Okay, so deity is personalizable as God, is pre-personal and super personal in ways not altogether comprehensible by man. I'm laughing because you can say that again. Deity is characterized by the quality of unity, actual or potential, on the supermaterial levels of reality. And this unifying quality is best comprehended by creatures as divinity. Interesting. Okay, deity functions on personal, pre-personal, and super-personal levels. Total deity is functional on the following 7 levels. Number 1, static, self-contained and self-existent deity. Number 2, potential, self-willed and self-purposive deity. Number 3, associative, self-personalized and divinely fraternal deity. Oh my God. Number 4, creative, self-distributive, and divinely revealed deity. Number 5, evolutional, self-expansive, and creature-identified deity. Number 6, supreme, self-experiential, and creator unifying deity. Deity functioning on the first creature identificational level as time-space overcontrollers of the grand universe, sometimes designated the supremacy of deity. And then 7, ultimate, self-projected and time-space transcending deity. Deity omnipotent, omniscient, and omnipresent. Deity functioning on the second level of unifying divinity expression as effective overcontrollers and absonite upholders of the master universe. As compared with the ministry of the deities to the grand universe, this absonite function in the master universe is tantamount to the universal overcontrol and supersustenance, sometimes called the ultimacy of deity. Whoo! Whoo! I need a drink.
That's too hard to chew.
I need some tequila.
Yes, you need a drink.
Okay, Shenli, you can have it.
You have it. 你来嚼吧，那个按你来嚼吧，太硬了，不好嚼。
哇，好像
第二个
It's all yours.
都是你的。
OK， 1.2， 神灵可人格化为神，神灵是准人格和超人格的，其方式不是人所能完全理解的。神灵的特点是在实相的所有超物质层次上具有统一的品质，现实的或潜在的。这种统一的品质受造物最容易理解为神性。1.3， 神灵在人格、准人格和超人格层次上运作。总体神灵可运作于以下7个层次： 1. 静止的，即自我包含和自我存在的神灵； 2. 潜在的，即自我意志和自我意向的神灵； 3. 关联的，即自我人格化和神圣有爱的神灵； 4. 创造的，即自我分发和神圣启示的神灵； 5. 进化的，即自我扩展和受造物身份的神灵； 6. 至高的，即自我体验和受造物造者统一的神灵。作为大宇宙的时空总监控者，在受造物识别的第一层次上运作的神灵，有时被称为神灵至高者。 7. 终极的，即自我投射和超越时空的神灵，全能、全知和全在的神灵。作为主宇宙的有效总控制者和觉现支撑者，在统一神性表达的第2层次上运作的神灵，与神灵对大宇宙的侍奉相比，主宇宙中这种觉现功能相当于宇宙总控制和超级维持，有时被称为神灵终极者。OK，
Okay, so
还
we'll
没完吧？读到 ultimate 哦 finite 还没读。OK， yes。 So you finished the ultimate, the seventh.
I did.
Yeah, good.
Okay, so we'll try not to be overwhelmed, and we'll take it sentence by sentence, okay?
不要被吓住，我们一句一句来。
So the first sentence, it's not hard to understand if we break it down. Deity, well, I shouldn't say that. It's a little hard. Deity is personalizable as God, is pre-personal and super-personal in ways not altogether comprehensible by man. Okay, what does that mean? Deity, which is, deity is God. I think that's the easiest way of saying it. It's God. Now, it's personalizable as God, but when we think of God, that's the person of deity. So deity is God, the person, but he's more than God, the person.
这神灵呢就可以人格化为神啊。我们一般说的 God 就是相当于是一个人格化的神。
When we're talking about God, we're talking about the personal part of deity.
对，当我们说 God 用这个词神这个词的时候，我们往往指的是人格化那一部分。
And that's the most important thing to us because we're people. So we can have a personal relationship with the person, the personal part of deity.
对，这是我们作为人格很好理解的部分。我们是人，所以我们是想跟一个人格化的神来产生关系。
So this book is really emphasizing the personal relationship of God and our relationship to God.
对，这本书很重要的就是为了强调我们个人跟那个神的个人的关系。
But it's also trying to explain to us that there's much more than that. It's also telling us how the universe works and how God works in the universe. And there's whole areas that are still God, that are still deity, that are beyond our personal relationship. And really, they're saying here, really almost beyond our comprehension.
对，那么但是呢，这本书还告诉我们，我们跟神的关系不光是指于这个个人的关系，个人关系，还要看这个神在宇宙当中是怎么工作的。所以神灵的概念是就是不止于这个个人的关系。
So just like infinity is really hard for us to understand because we are fine, our earthly mortal physical beings are finite. So infinity is hard for us to understand, and eternity is hard for us to understand because we have a beginning. Just like that, it's also hard for us to understand pre-personal realities and super-personal realities because we're personal beings.
就像我们凡人，就是很难理解无限的概念、永恒的概念一样，我们是人格，所以我们很难理解准人格和超人格的概念。
So they're telling us that God is personal. He's personal, and that's who we call God, is God the person. But he is also pre-personal and super-personal.
所以这个地方就是从人格化的神扩展开去，然后神灵它也是准人格和超人格的。
So what does that mean? Pre-personal means before. Pre is before. So pre-personal means before personality. So that I think they're telling us that God exists before personality, and what is super personal is beyond personality. So he is personal, but he is also before personality, and he is also beyond personality.
对 ，pre-personal 就是 pre 是 before 是之前，在人格之前的意思。那么 super-personal 超人的，那么相当于 beyond 就是在人格之外啊，超越人格之上的。那么这个就是它的存在，在人格之前和人格之后都是存在的，之上都是存在的。
So now they're saying deity, deity is characterized by the quality of unity, actual or potential, on all supermaterial levels of reality. So, and this unifying quality is best comprehended by creatures as divinity. Okay, so now they're telling us what divinity is. And because deity and divinity are very, God, deity, and divinity are, let's start there. God, deity, and divinity are all, they're all one thing, and but they're a little different, but they're closely related.
像神 God， 还有神灵 Deity， 还有那个神性 Divinity， 这些概念都是紧密的相关的。
So they're saying deity. So in other words, God is the person of deity, but deity is before personality, personality, and beyond personality. That's deity. God, what we call God, is really the personal side of deity.
对。那么神灵的概念是包含在准人格、人格和超人格当中，都是叫做神灵的。这而告的这个词神，它大概指的是人格那一部分。
Now they're saying that deity is characterized by the quality of unity. So unity is what brings everything together, what holds everything together. So you could think of it like a spiritual gravity, because without gravity, we'd all be flying off into space. So physical gravity holds everything together in a physical world. Well, they're saying that deity is the unifier. It holds everything together on super material levels of reality. So not in the physical world, but in all the other aspects of reality, all the super material, the spiritual, the cosmic levels of reality. It's deity that's holding everything together. It's characterized by the quality of unity.
对，就像那个物质的引力哈，我们就是万有引力，把这些物质物体，把它活络在一块儿，粘在一块儿。那么这个神灵的概念，它也是一个统一物，一个像代表的是一个神性的引力一样，在那个超物质的现实当中，就是具有统一的品质。
Instead of having 20 trillion different things, spiritual, cosmic, super material, not material things in the universe that are just not connected to each other, it's deity connects everything. So it's the unifier is deity. Deity is what connects everything in the master universe.
那么这个神灵啊，我们就是在什么，在这个主宇宙当中有很多的超 超物质的水平有很多的存有主宇宙当中，那个神灵它就是相当于维系这个各部分是一个统一体的。
And they're saying that this deity is actual or potential. So not only does deity connect everything, unify everything, supermaterial, but it's also the potential for unity. So it's not only how everything is united, it's how everything can be united. So deity is not only what is, but is also what is possible. That's also deity.
对，那么相当于这个神灵它也是就是在显在和潜在之间的那么一个联系，就是这个宇宙的这个超物质的层面，它光是决定什么是显在，什么会显现为实相，还决定什么是可能的，就是潜在的实相，它也是把这两者是结合在一起的。
So deity is beyond time and space. Deity, so the potential and the actual have the same value for deity. The potential and the actual are the same thing, I think, or very similar. They're not like we see it, because we see actual as now and potential as what can be someday. But the deity is not constricted by time. So the actual and the potential are very intertwined with deity.
对，那么这个神灵它是在时空之外的，然后在它显在和潜在和显在具有同等的价值，不光是决定那个显在的实相，还决定潜在什么是可能的，什么是可以显现的，所以它是不受时空限制的。那么在它显在和潜在是交织在一起的。
So then they're saying, and this unifying quality, so it's one quality, it's just deity is characterized by the quality of unity. It's not saying it's the only quality, or it's all it's one aspect of deity. It's probably a pretty important one, but it's saying this unifying quality is best comprehended by creatures as divinity. I'll let you translate that, and then I'll explain it.
对，它这个统一的这个特性啊，神灵的这个统一的特性，当然神灵还有其他的特性，那么它这个统一弥合的这么一个特性，在这个定义呢，就会定义为神性。
So what does that mean? That means, okay, so then let's think about it. What do we think of as divine? Well, something that's wonderful is divine. Something that feels good is divine. I mean, that's the word divine comes from divinity. So we could say, if a wine tastes very wonderful, we'll say this wine is divine. That means it's perfect. It means it's godlike. It's so divinity for us is maybe it's like a characteristic of this unifying characteristic of God. Let me think. So how do we use divinity? So we use divinity as kind of a description, like perfection would be divinity. I think it's a description of deity. So we do, if something is wonderful, we don't say, oh, it's deity. No, we say it's divine. So if we're talking about a perfect person, we don't say a perfect being, I should say, not necessarily a person. We don't say, we could say, well, that's deity, but we would say that's a divine being, which would mean related to deity. So it's more of a divinity, I think, is more of the characteristic of unity in deity. Does that make sense?
对，就是神性啊，相当于我们最容易理解神性，它就是肯定是跟神灵有关系的，是表达神灵的这么一个特性。
Well, they're trying to explain the difference between how we think of the word divine and deity, and I'm trying to explain it, and I'm trying to understand it.
Yeah, I think I basically understand what.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I understand it completely, so it's not, I'm not doing such a good job of explaining because I don't completely understand it. As I'm explaining it, I'm trying to figure it out.
对，他也是在试图理解他这个话的意思。我们都是用我们的知见似乎理解，似乎就是都在做努力哈，理解这些我们头脑难以理解的。
Us something about the way we think that we don't know, that we're not aware of.
对，他就是试图想就是解释我们头脑可能没有办法理解的一些的概念。
So they're telling us, I think that some people who listen to this recording will understand this much better than I do. But I think they're telling us that the unifying quality of deity is what we're relating to when we use the word divinity.
对，就是在强调，就也是这个文中的一句，就是说那个神灵的统一的这么一个特质，对，就被称为是神圣的、神性的。
Oh, well, luckily, they talk more about divinity at the end of this section, so that's good news.
对，他说在这一节末尾又进一步讲这个神圣性、神性，对，那个是个好消息。
Okay, so then the next sentence is deity functions on personal, prepersonal, and superpersonal levels. Okay, total deity is functional on the following 7 levels. So they've told us that they've already told us that deity is personal, prepersonal, and superpersonal. And now they're telling us that there's 7 levels that deity functions on, and they're going to explain the 7 levels.
对，前面也提到神灵在人格、准人格、超人格层次上运作。对，那么再进一步，他就说总体神灵呢可以在以下7个层次运作。
Okay, number 1, static, self-contained and self-existent. So, okay, self-contained and self-existent. So what does that mean? That's I don't know if I can explain it any better, just static. Well, when you think of it in relation to static, potential, associative, creative, evolutional, supreme, static is kind of like the what is, and then potential is what can be, and associative would be how it relates to other things. Creative would be what it can do. Evolutional will be how it changes. So static would be I think the what is part of it.
他就说这个 static 静止的哈，大概就是对应的英文词就是什么是什么啊这个概念。那么 potential 潜在的，那么对应的大概是它可以是什么。然后呢 associative 就关联的，那么就是它跟别的有没有关联啊。然后就是 creative 就是 创造性的，那么就是可以对应的英文词就是它可以做什么。然后 evolutional 就是进化的，那么它是怎么变化的，它是怎么进展的。
So we could put this, I think to better understand this, I'm going to put it in very simple terms, knowing that I'm kind of butchering it.
Butcher.
But yeah, a butcher is someone who takes the raw meat and cuts it into pieces. Right?
Yeah.
In the butcher shop. So when we use the expression butchering, we're sort of like chopping up and kind of destroying something.
对，他就说他是争取就你像拿到一块肉，然后把它切成一块一块，给它分解开来。那么他是希望这种方式来帮助我们理解。
So I think I can best explain this by really doing a very rough, primitive explanation.
对，希望给一个粗浅的，根据自己的理解哈，给一些粗浅的帮助大家理解。
So we could say number one, static. It is what it is.
Existential? Does it mean it's just existential?
Existential, yes. It is yes. It is what it is. It's existential. Just that's what you got.
我是我所是，对，就是它的存在性，第一个禁止的。
Totally existential. Number two, potential, self-willed and self-purposeful. So potential is shows us that deity has will. Deity is not only what it is, it has will, so it can be and can do. So it has to do with the will. Just like we have free will, deity has will. So deity, not just God the person, but the pre-personal and super-personal, all of deity has will and purpose. So it is what it is, but it also can do what it can do, or it will do what it wants to do. That's how I'm going to say it.
对，那么这个潜在的第二层潜在的，那么就是说这个神灵它是有这个意志，有目的啊，它可以决定是怎么样，要做什么，有一个方向感。
It is what it is, but it has will and it has purpose. And that's the potential. And that's the potential.
对，不光是他所是，他还有这个意志和目的性。
So anything with potential, I mean, they say that God is changeless, but then they say God, well, deity, I'm going to stick to deity. They say, well, never mind, I'm not going to go into that. But potential, self-will and self-purpose, means that it acts. It is and it acts.
对，它是可以行动的。
It doesn't just sit there on a lotus flower being perfect. It does stuff. It acts. It has will. It has intention.
对，它不光是存在的，完美的，它还是可以行动的。
Okay. Number three, associative, self-personalized and divinely fraternal. Now, self-personalized. Okay, self-personalized, I think, means that deity, although deity, we know that deity is personalizable as God. So deity, he's not just a person, but he's pre-personal and super-personal, but they say self-personalized because we receive personality from God. But who does God receive it from? Well, himself. He is personality, but he also decided to be personality. Everything about God is his own will. he created, I mean, now we're in a crazy land. Did God create himself? That's what I'm saying. But in a way, maybe he did. God knows. God only knows.
对。那么这个关联的这个地方哈，它有一个 self-personalized， 我们都知道我们的人格也是上父给的嘛。但是呢，这个地方呢，这个神灵它是可以自己给自己人格，所以叫这个地方叫 self-personalized， 自我人格化。
So all I know is that we receive personality from God, and they're saying God is self-personalized, and we know God is personalized, but not only personalized. But not only personalized, but they're saying this is the associative quality. God is divinely fraternal. So God doesn't just sit there by himself saying, I'm perfect and you all go and do your thing and honor me. God is totally involved with everything and everyone he creates. So divinely fraternal. Now, we know that divine has to do with unity, and fraternal has to do with brotherly love, being involved with others. So we've got associative means number one, he's static. He is what he is. Number two, he can do what he can do. He will do what he will do. Number three, he associates with others. He's divine. He's all about unity and being involved with all of his creation. That's number three.
对。那么第三个这关联的哈，就是下一半那个句子是 divinely fraternal deity， 就是神圣有爱的神灵，就是他，就是神圣的就在他的统一性里边嘛。然后 fraternity 就是代表的兄弟之爱嘛。那么相当于他在关联，他跟他的创造物都是以爱所关联的。
Okay, we're getting through this. This is amazing.
Yes.
Number 4, creative, self-distributive, and divinely revealed. Well, that's I understand it now. That means that God doesn't have to create anything because God is everything already, but he chooses to create. When he creates, he's revealing himself to his creation. So he creates all these other personalities, and then he reveals himself by creating. Self-distributive, he distributes himself throughout his universes. Everything he makes, it's God's creation. He doesn't have to do it. He's not doing it for himself. He's sharing himself he's revealing himself through his creation. That's really cool.
他这个选择去创造，相当于创造的过程也是分赐他自身，彰显他自身这样一个过程，就是分赐彰显。对，在宇宙当中都是来这样创造的。
So it could just say number 4, creative. It could say God creates, but they're telling us so much more than that by saying self-distributive and divinely revealed. What they're saying is why he creates and what that means. What it means is that self-distributive. What does that mean? It means he shares himself. He distributes himself. Everything God creates is a part of God. So he's saying here, have a mountain, have a lake, have a bird, have a sunset, have a rainbow. I'm giving you myself. I'm showing you who I am. He's distributing himself, self-distributive and divinely revealed. He's saying, do you want to know who I am? Here, I'm showing you who I am. I'm creating. I'm in all, he is in everything he creates. That's how I'm interpreting this.
对，就是他解释这一句呢，就是他分享他自己给万物，那么在一切创造的万物当中都有他自身，那么像那个太阳啊、山岗啊、鸟啊、彩虹啊，一切当中都是来彰显他自身。你看我是谁啊？就是相当于就是神圣启示的神灵。
这是不是说就是他是万事万物的祖先，就是相当于这样？
对。
What did Chenli say?
He's the forefather of everything.
The father of everything. Yes, but and also it's like the ultimate sharing. When this is so wonderful for me to try to understand this, because in other words, when you creating is really, I never thought of it like this before, but creating is really an act of giving. You're giving of yourself to others by every time you create, it's a gift. You're saying, look, this is in me. I want to put it out there. I want to share it with others. Whether you write a book or do a painting or cook a delicious meal or make a beautiful sweater, every act of creation is a gift. You're sharing something from in you and you're putting it out in the world for others to appreciate. So that's what this is telling us, that God, he doesn't have to create, but he creates. But I'm going even further. Well, I should let you. I should let you translate.
对，神灵不必要去创造，但是他还是创造了。那么这是一个最高级别的一个分享。那么，创造的过程就是一个给予的过程，是把他内在的东西分赐出来，跟别人分享。那样想做一顿饭呐，织一件毛衣啊，他就是跟别人分享，他把内里的东西然后拿出来彰显出来。
So it's like the more you are, the richer you are, and I mean spiritually rich, the more you want to share, the more you want to give. And I'm saying, I'm thinking that God can't stop giving. He can't stop creating. He has so much to give that he can't stop giving. He has to always be creating. That's what I'm thinking.
对，那么就是你越富有，你越能给出。那么，神他是没有办法停止给出的，他有那么多需要分享的嘛，所以他会一直在创造。
It's a natural urge for every being that God creates, except some that, go astray. But you want to know, it's a natural, innate urge to know God and to understand God, to get back to God, your Father. And what he's doing is he's saying, you want to know me. I know you want to know me. I'm revealing myself. It's divinely creative, divinely revealed deity. He's revealing himself everywhere, all around us, all the time.
对，那么这是自然的一个冲动，原始的冲动就要给予，像我们人自然而然的有一种冲动要去了解神一样。那么，他也知道，神也知道我们想了解他，那么他就说我来彰显我自己，来给你看，所以呢，他就是一直不断的在彰显他的神性，神圣的彰显，神圣的启示。
Okay, I'm going to take a break for a few minutes.
OK，
And you
sure.
can either talk about this, read the next section, or take a break also.
OK， sure.
All
Go
right,
ahead.
be right back.
哇哦，那个，对，还得休息一下。怎么样？大家对这一部分，对这几个词是不是有了更深的了解了？经过他这样的一个，
对，就是如果这几个词，就是如果就给每个举例的话，会更加能够对应上。就比如说潜在的，是不是就是意味着就是后面提到的无限定的部分，是不是就是潜在的，就是还没有显化？无限定就是还没有实际的呈现一个东西。
我觉得他这7个层次啊，后边的我不知道，但是前面这几个有点让我想起那个太极。无极，一开始就无极嘛，静止的。后来在这个在有潜在和显在区别的时候，就上了那个太极嘛，阴阳。
对，它是它不单单是太极，因为太极它是表现出一种潜在和现实的不断的一个循环。
对呀，神也是。
它前面有一个静止，静止就是它有一个拖的东西，它就是就是源源不断的供给这个循环，它总是需要有一个背景。所以就是它有一个静止的东西。
就是无极。绝对静止的，对，那个无极，那个点或者那个无，那个连点还没有的那个无。
对，
静止的。
就是没有办法形容，它就是一个存在本身，存在性的。就是《玉书》里面它是说，就是它就有一个词，就是说它是存在性的。
对，它是，你看 functional on the following 7 levels， 你就可以把总体神灵把它弄成我们中国文化当中的道啊，那个跟道家的东西应该也是有内在的。
对所以他说 functional 就是实际上他们中间实际上是神灵自己对各个工作他自己进行了一个分工，就是说就万有之父他除了分配调整者之外，他都不直接运作，他就作为一个比较静态待在那儿，然后把很多工作分配出去了。
或者它就造成很多分身嘛，就是在各个层次去。
对，他比如他造了3位一体，他就把有些工作除了人格化部分的工作就交给了圣子和上灵。
对，上灵不就是运作之神嘛，就是运作的，负责运作。
就行动之神。
对，共同行动者。
对。
Okay, I'm back. Did I miss anything good?
We are trying to do some we thought the deity of the function of the deity is very much similar to whatever described in Taoism. What Tao is about.
太极.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah. So yeah, and with your detailed butchering description, we get more in-depth understanding of what those function is about.
Well, me too, because it's the most amazing book. Every time you read it, you understand more.
他就说玉书，我就感谢他对这个很详细的逐字逐句的这种解释，让我们更深的对神 神灵的运作啊，它的7个层次有更深的理解。他就说《玉书》是一本非常的令人惊讶的书呢，每次读都有一些新的体验体悟。
There seems to be no end, no limit to how much you can understand this book, and it's amazing. There's so many. It's so deep. It's just so deep. You can just always go deeper and deeper and deeper and understand more and more and more.
他就说好像没有尽头，你每次读的时候都会体悟的深一些，再深一些。
And I mean, it's funny too, because when you think of these things like static, potential, associative, creative, evolutional, that describes us also. We're all those things too.
对，当他描述神灵的几个那个方面静止的、潜在的、关联的、创造的、进化的，那么他就说我们实际上也是这样子的，这些描述的都是我们的特点啊，我们的运作呀。Yeah, we are deity by nature.
To a much lesser extent.
对，在某种程度上来讲，我们也都是神灵啊，我们也都有这些的功能和方面。
But yeah, we are like little deities.
我们是小神灵。
就是因为是我们是像神，因为神就像他那样造出我们来，所以我们就造成了一个很小程度上像的一个。
对啊，要不说我们就是神之子嘛，那子怎么能不像父呢？父什么样，我们就是什么样；父有什么特点，我们就有什么特点。Yeah, since right, we are little gods. We are miniature of God.
But we are created in God's image.
我们是照神的形象造的。
That's the thing. It makes sense that God would create little beings that we're his children, I mean, we are his children.
我们是神灵的孩子，对。
So, okay, let's go to number 5, evolutional, self-expansive and creature self-expansive and creature identified deity.
对，第5个方面是进化的及自我扩展和受造物身份的神灵。这受造物身份的神灵有可能翻的不太对。What does that creature identify deity? That the deity can be identified by creature?
I haven't gotten there yet. I'm still on self-expansive. So self-expansive. Okay, evolutional. You evolve. So you expand. When you evolve, you expand. You become more. You start in one place and you become deeper, more experienced, wiser. Your body changes. You start as a crawling creature, you end up as a walking creature. That's evolution. Spiritually you evolve, mentally you evolve. So that's self-expansive. So they're saying, I mean, I'm a little confused because somewhere else in the book it says God is changeless. God doesn't change. Here they're talking about all this, will and evolution. So I'm a little confused. Maybe they'll explain it later. But forget that it says God is the one thing that doesn't change, but maybe they're talking in another sense. But evolutional, self-expansive. Okay, self-expansive. That's what they're saying. That's what evolution is. It's expanding yourself, becoming more.
Yeah. 那第5部分进化的就是自我扩展，那么就指的是它可以变得更多、更深，更明智。就是在不断的进化，身心进化，就像我们人也是在不断的进化。
So you could say that evolutional is contradictory to static, but it isn't, because the static side of us, we are what we are. We never become another person. We're always ourselves, but we evolve. So that's what they're saying. We are still ourself, but our self keeps expanding.
那我们仍然是我们自己，就是从人格方面，我们是静止的 static 啊，不变的。但是我们跟我们进化并不矛盾，我们又是我们自己，我们又在扩展我们自己。
So when they say and creature identified, and they put, I can understand what creature identified means. That means that God's creatures, his creation, the beings he creates, his creatures, creature identified, identify. It could be it could be the part of God that we identify. It could be that I don't really understand this, but it could be that it could be that our identification of deity keeps evolving. It could be that, right? Because our identification of deity is always evolving.
Um, 他这个creature identified，他说他也不太理解什么意思，有可能就是我们的神性的身份，使我们能够不断的进化。
是识别，可能是下一段有 supreme 这一段有一个 creator identification level，可能是不是受造物识别的一个神灵，就是受造物可以比较能够直接识别的这样一个神灵。
受造物识别的神灵，就是受造物可以识别神灵吗？
What are you saying?
Creature identified. The next paragraph.
There is the word creature identificational level. So are they related?
Self-experiential and creature, creator, unifying, deity functioning on the first creature identification level. Deity function on the first creature identified level as time space over controls with universe. Sometimes, okay, so I think you're right. I think it might be somehow a little bit connected to the supreme, but it could be that our identification of deity keeps evolving, but it could also be that as God evolves, as deity evolves, he becomes more identifiable by creatures. Could be that too.
对，就说 他就说这个随着神灵的进化，那么他的受造物就越来越被他的受造物所识别。You like this interpretation better, Shirley?
I'm not sure because like the supreme, he's either creator and also creature deity. So he supreme is a creator identified deity.
Well, he's functioning on the first creature identification level.
He has the identity of a deity as creator, but he also has an identity of a creator.
Wait, a creator and what?
The supreme, he's either a creator as a deity, but he also has another identity as creature, right? I'm not sure.
Well, we already have number 4, creative. So we know that deity is creative, and a creative,
Creator.
yeah, I think is similar to, if you're creative, you're creating, and that makes you a creator. So I do think that number 5 and number 6 are connected, because the thing about evolutional deity is that the supreme is very evolutional, is the most evolutional part of deity. So I think that I mean, I don't know if that's true.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's true, but when they describe the supreme, it's very extremely evolutional. It's constantly evolving along with with God's creation. So I think that evolutional, to go back to number 5, I think that this is very hard to understand. Creature identified deity. It's probably very simple. It's probably just that the part of God that the creatures identify is the evolutional part of it's growing and changing, and creature identified. So the evolutional part of God is the part that we identify as deity. That I mean, I don't really understand what that means, really. You know, I mean, why would it be that? Why would we identify the evolutional part, not the creative or associative? You know, so I'm not sure, but I think that we'll go to the next one and try to understand the next one, and maybe that will help us, like Shenli suggested. So
就是第5和第6，进化性的和至高的神，那么他们这2个非常紧密的联系的，至高的神是绝对就是在进化当中的神，那么他跟他的受造物一起进化，那么有可能第5部分这个受造识别的神灵，就是神灵，它只有这个它进化这一部分才被它的受造物识别为神。我们可以再继续读，看看下一个部分是不是给我们更多的启示，了解这个概念。Yep, that's a good idea.
Okay. Number 6, supreme, self-experiential and creature, creator, unifying deity. Let me just read it first. Deity functioning on the first creature identification level as time-space over-controllers of the grand universe, sometimes designated the supremacy of deity. Okay, deity functioning on the first creature identification level as time-space over-controllers of the grand universe. All right. Supreme. All right. Start it. Now that I read it, number supreme.
Yes.
Self-experiential and creature creator unifying deity. Let's take that sentence. Self-experiential means experiencing himself, and creator. See, this is why the supreme is such a hard part. Creature creator unifying. Okay. So this this is a supreme deity, is the part of deity that experiences himself, itself, and unifies the experience with his creatures, his creation. So this is and then they say deity functioning on the first creature identification level. So that means there's more than one creature identification level. And the first one would be the supreme, what we call the supreme. And I think what they're telling us is that the supreme is really the evolving God. And that's the God. When we identify God, I think what it's telling us is that when we identify God, we're really identifying the supreme. We don't realize that. But because that's the part that's involved with us, unifying creature and creator. So that's the God that we're really relating to, that that essence of God. The evolutional essence of God is the one we identify the most. Maybe because we are evolving beings ourselves, but I mean, we're also creative and associative, but we're really evolving. There's no, I mean, some are more creative, some less, some more associative, some less, but we're all evolving. So let me see if I can say this better. Self-experience. So the supreme is the nature of deity that is experiencing itself in relation to unifying with its creation, its creatures, not just its creation, not just everything, but particularly its creatures, the beings it creates. He's experiencing the unity with his creatures. So let's just say it that way.
这个神之至高者哈，至高的神灵，就是他可以体验自我。那么相当于他还可以体验他就是受造物跟受造物统一的这么一个经验。往往我们受造物能够识别的神灵的层次，往往就是这个至高者这个层次。
I think maybe this may be a reach, a stretch, but I think it may be saying something like the part of deity that allows creatures to evolve along with God as a kind of unity. It's like really gets involved with us. So as we evolve, and I'm saying this because I've read more about the Supreme, but as we evolve, God evolves. Like he shares the whole experiential, evolutional experience with us. And then we identify deity because that's where deity comes closest to us. I think maybe it's something like that.
对，那么就是我们在这个至高者之神，我们所有的造物都是在进化嘛，跟那个神灵一起进化，作为一个整体在进化。神跟我们是共享那个经验的，我们能够识别神灵，识别这个神跟我们最近的，那么就是相当于认识他是至高者之神。当他是以这种方式运作的时候，我们能够识别这个神灵。
It's like I mean, this is so crude, but pardon me, celestial beings, for being so crude, but it's like the time where God invites us to the party. We're all these other things are so far beyond us, so far beyond our comprehension. But now we're talking about, let's get down and do this together. I'm going to evolve right along with you. I'm going to let what you do be part of my evolution. I've created these beings, and now I'm going to let them create me. So we're going to evolve together. So how you evolve affects how I evolve. How I evolve affects how you evolve. We're gonna all go to this party together. You're invited. I'm invited. All the creatures are invited. It's about me getting really close and really intertwined with my creatures that I created. I think it has something to do with that.
就像比如说这个神灵邀请我们去参加一个聚会，那么我做一个非常粗浅的这么一个比喻，然后呢，就是神，那我们跟他一起做事，是吧？一起进化，参加聚会的人来创造我，我也创造他们，就这样互相的影响，就是每个人都被邀请参与，就是完全的融合在一起，这样一种关系，一个方式，就是共同进化的方式。
I'm sure I'm butchering this, but it's, I'm trying to bring it into some kind of picture that we can understand. Then it says on the first creature identification level as time space over controllers of the grand universe. Now time and space, all these other aspects of deity are beyond time and space. They may be in time and space, they may be out of time and space, they may be throughout time and space, but this is particularly time and space, because the Supreme is like the finite God. It's like a very different aspect of deity. So it is actually concerned with time and space, whereas the other aspects are not concerned with time and space. So and that also makes sense with the evolution, because you evolve through time and space. I don't know evolution seems very closely tied to time and space. I may be wrong, but and it says the first creature identification level. So we start with identifying the deity on the supreme level. That's the first one. I think then we go to the ultimate later, and the absonite, the absolute. We go to these other levels later, but we start, this is the first level where we really get involved with God. He really plays a part in our life. The Supreme is involved in every aspect of our time and space existence, I believe.
对，就是在这个级别哈，我们能够理解在时空的，因为在大部分神灵的方面都在时空之外的，那么他降到时空之内，成为时空的总控制者的时候，他就相当于成为一个有限世界的神。那么这个至高者，就 就因为这个进化的概念都是在时空的框架之内的，所以它是在进化的神这个概念，它是在时空之内的这么一个有限的神的概念。那么然后这个是最低的层次的，然后再往上是经历绝限啊、超限啊、绝对、绝限和绝对。然后对，现在这有限这个层次是比较低的。
Now, I think a great example of this is when Jesus came to earth as a human being. That is a very, I think there we saw an example of the supreme in action, operating on a time-space level, interacting with his creatures. In other words, we're always going to God. We're always trying to transcend to understand God, but God also wants to understand us. He also comes to us, not just as our thought adjusters, but in many, many ways. And one of those ways is when a creator son comes and lives a life with his creatures as a creature. That is a supreme function.
那个那个的例子，像耶稣他生而为人降到我们的时空的层次，那么就是一个至高者在行动的例子，他可以就是这个创造机会，我们受造物可以跟神直接的去交流，去进行互动啊，就是神来到我们中间那就是造物之子。这样就来到我们之间跟受造物进行互动，就是不光我们要去接触神，那么神也要降下来接触我们。
So I think that's the best example of this that we can have.
这是就是至高者神的就是这么一个例子，我们可以借此来理解。
Okay, let's try for the ultimate.
现在再试一试解释终极的神的这一个面向。
Self, and then I think this might be our last one because it's getting near closing time. Ultimate, self-projected and time-space transcending deity. All right, self-projected. So we had so each one we had self-contained, self-willed, self-personalized, self-distributive, self-expansive, self-experiential. Now we have self-projected. So each one is self-something. So this is self-projected and time-space transcending. So the last one was time-space over controllers of the grand universe. This is time-space transcending deity.
对，前面有自限的，这个是或者自我体验的、自我扩展的、自我分发的，然后这个地方终极的，它用的是自我投射的。前面呢是在时空之内的，这个是超越时空的神灵。
So basically, God, the deities relate to us on every possible level, from the supreme, which is where God relates to the finite creatures, to the ultimate, to the absolute. So no matter how high we go, no matter how much we evolve, no matter what order of being you are, you can always relate to the deities on that level or a higher level.
就不管我们就是在多高多低的进化到哪个层次，我们总会跟那个层次的神灵去相交。
So the Supreme said deity functioning on the first creature identification level as time space over controllers. So the Supreme is functioning on the lowest level of creature creature identification. So creatures can identify deity on the supreme level. Now, the ultimate is the second level of unifying divinity expression. So, go ahead.
I got lost.
Okay, so the supreme is the first level of unifying expression. The supreme is the time-space level of unifying expression. The ultimate
对，
is
那
the-
个就是至高者之神哈，他是在时空的这个层面的，在这个层面就是，这个受造物，可以识别神的。
So the deities are the over controllers. So they're the rulers of the universe. They're controlling everything. So they're controlling the grand universe on the supreme level, operating on a time-space level, and then on the ultimate level, they're controlling the master universe. More the first level is the grand universe, the planned inhabited universe. Then they go to the next level is beyond time and space.
在就是这个在至高者的层面呢，它是可以作为大宇宙的时空总控制者。那个大宇宙它是有人居住的宇宙。那么在在终极的这个层次呢，它就是相当于作为主宇宙，那比大宇宙又再广的再大的宇宙的范围。它是作为主宇宙的有效总控制者和觉现支撑者。
So the ultimate is time, space transcending deity, whereas the supreme is on the time space level of the grand universe. So the deities are over controlling these completely different levels of reality, but they're also geographical levels, because the time-space level, they're the over controllers of the grand universe. On the ultimate level, they're the over controllers of the master universe.
对，终极的神它是作为主宇宙的，就是超越时空的，它这个神灵，所以它是作为主宇宙的有效总控制者，就是比那个要高一些了，级别要高一些了，就是在地理的控制范围上也高一些了。
So then they're trying to explain the difference. They say the finite level of reality is characterized by creature life and time-space limitations. Finite realities may not have endings, but they always have beginnings. They are created. The deity level of supremacy may be conceived as a function in relation to finite existences. So I think that's why they keep saying creature identified, because that's what God relates to us in our reality. So it's easier for us to identify that aspect of deity.
对，那么就是至高者之神，他是在时空当中运作的嘛，因为我们的实相现实就是在时空当中， 这也是为什么我们能够在这个层次上能够识别这个运作的神灵。
So the people on Earth, on Urantia, didn't really understand the nature of God until Jesus came and lived among them and said, God is like me. I am like God. I speak for God. Everything I say comes from God. Then they started understanding how loving, how caring, how they understood the personality of God when God came to them. So God's way beyond everything, but he comes down to these different levels and relates to everything on that level.
对，我们在我们的实相物质实相这个有限的物质领域，我们很难了解神的本质。那么，直到耶稣来到地上，他是说神就是像我一样，我就像神一样，神是通过我父啊，通过我来说话啊，就是他的彰显他的神的人格的一面，我们才了解神的作为，神的所事。
Did I just read number 7, ultimate, the first paragraph?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm getting beyond myself. So because then it goes on to explain the absolute and the absolute levels, which we won't have time to go into today. So I think we're doing okay. I mean, this is one of the hard for everyone listening, including you, Eric. Hello, Eric. This is one of the hardest parts of the book to understand. So don't feel bad if we don't have if we're doing a little guessing, because this is really the tough stuff.
对，那个就是听这个录音的伙伴们，Eric 都要注意，就是说，就是很难的那个部分，如果我们有一些的猜测呀，这个是不可避免的，因为这个的确需要我们脑补一些东西来加强我们理解。
We're trying to understand concepts that don't even exist in our world.
对。很多的概念，我们在我们的有这个时空的世界根本就还不存在。
They're using our language to explain things that aren't in our language. We don't have words for the things they're trying to explain.
对，他是勉强用我们的世界的语言，但是很多东西可能用我们的语言都没有办法表达清楚。
So they're doing the best they can explaining it, and we're doing the best we can understanding it.
对，他们就是做他们的努力来表达，我们做我们的努力来懂。
And hopefully every time we read it, we get a little more understanding.
对，希望我们每一次读都多懂得一点点。Yes, indeed. That's a very interesting, intriguing stuff.
I know. I think it will help us with the Supreme, though, to read this. I think it was a great idea.
他认为在读至高者神之前读这一部分是非常好的主意。Yes.
And I think it will help other people who read it in the future, because even though I may not be doing a very good job, it at least we chip away a little, a little each time. We chip away at that mountain, and we take a little baby step here and a little baby step there towards our understanding.
对，我们啃这座大山，一次啃一点点，一次就是迈出婴儿的步伐，一次迈出一两步。I think after this reading the foreword, we feel more confident in keeping those chapters about Supreme Being.
Yeah, I think after we read the foreword, we should have a virtual party.
那就是把这个读完，应该有一个庆祝的小型的聚会，来庆祝，来那个奖励我们的努力啊。
a supreme celebration.
一个至高者的庆祝。Yeah, I feel already much better than when we, first read
Yeah,
it.
yeah, me too. Because when I first saw it, I was like, "Oh my God, how are we gonna?" But when you pick it apart, a lot of
Yeah.
it is quite makes sense.
Yes, and remember that we all have thought adjuster who already have this knowledge. We just try to kind of chip away those the covering between our mind and the thought adjuster.
Yeah, absolutely. Believe me, I asked for guidance before we do this. I asked for guidance before this session. I knew I couldn't do it on my own.
他说在读这个之前，我也是祈祷得到思想调整者的帮助。我知道我是没有办法靠我自己来这个解读的。Yeah, you did a great job. We all understand much better now. 我说他做的工作很好，至少我们现在懂得更多了。
Remember the publication mandate. This was written for future age. So if we even understand it a little bit, we're doing pretty good.
对，就是记得那个出版指令里边说的，这本书是给未来的世代读的书，那么就是我们多懂一点点就已经很好了。
I mean, there's no way we can, there's some people on earth who have better minds than mine and they can understand it much better than I can. I'm not saying that, but in general, human beings in general, we're not expected to have a complete understanding of this part. I'm sure.
对，他说也许这个我们世界当中有其他人的头脑可能非常的发达，他能够比我懂得更多一些。对，但是这个是真的是很难懂的部分，他也不期望自己有多么高超的理解。
But but aside from some very, very special people who are probably understand every word.
有一些高超的头脑有可能了解他说的每一个字。
But like you said, with the thought of our with the help of our thought adjusters and the help of some celestial beings who are coming to our sessions, we'll do okay.
因为我们思想调整者其他灵性存有的帮助，我们应该是就是还好了，对，应该他们都会帮助我们的。
And the last thing is just to give credit to these wonderful authors. Like, as hard as it is for us to understand it, imagine how hard it was for them to write it.
对，那么我们还要归功于那些的作者，我们懂都这么难了，那么他们写就更难了。That's a big challenge, I believe.
Yeah, I mean that really. I mean,
we have to choose the words, the proper words from our language to organize the whole writing.
I mean, it really is like explaining nuclear physics to a 5-year-old. I mean, it really is like extremely difficult task.
对，他就再次强调，就有点像给幼儿园的小朋友解释原子物理，那么实在是一个非常的挑战性的任务。
But I think they do it in such a way that it allows us to kind of expand our minds, to kind of get creative, to kind of reach for meanings. I mean, I really do. I think it's done in such a way that there's a kind of creativity in their explanations that allows us to really explore what they're trying to say.
对，它实际上这样的话也是扩展我们 提高我们的认知啊，让我们在这个在这个沿着这个方向更有创意的去探索。Yes, I think they raised a good direction for us to explore and improve our spiritual understanding. Yes.
Yeah, because they don't expect us to just understand it all, but they write it in such a way that we can understand it at different levels at different times.
对，他也没有期望我们一下子就懂得全部，只是在不同的时间达到不同的层次的理解就好了。
Ooh,
Yes, good.
let's see.
Give you a round of applause. Yes.
So we got through almost 2 pages today.
Yeah, I'm scroll down, there are so many wonderful paragraphs ahead. I'm looking forward so much to reading this forward. I think that's a very wonderful sessions, like whatever the thought adjuster, the chapters on thought adjusters are.
I think that what we just read might be about one of the hardest parts in this whole forward.
That makes me feel much better.
Yeah, no,
我们
looking
这一部分大概也是前言当中最难的啊。这样说我还感觉比较好一些。对，
I think
Yeah.
I think we might have just climbed the highest mountain.
已经到这个最高峰，然后再往下可能就会，对吧？上山这个难，下山比较容易。那最高峰，那么过后就这些应该比较容易一些，就是打好了基础啊，把基础打好了，其他的概念会反复的回来作为老朋友，我们就不会觉得那么陌生了。Yeah, wow, it's quite long. I mean, forward.
Yeah.
We might have to read, at least 7 sessions.
Oh.
11. Okay, right. How many sessions? See, 12.
No, well, I mean, if this and then part of tomorrow, next week is the hardest part of the forward, then we might be able to read, 3 or 4 page, we might be able to read more in others. It might not always be this slow. I mean, we were taking it sentence by sentence because it was so hard. I don't think
we need to spend at least 3 months on the forward.
Yeah,
but whatever, we are not rushed on time, but whenever you are available, we appreciate you, come to us and give kind of at least finish the forward. They are wonderful stuff.
Yeah, but I could be wrong, but I think glancing a little bit towards the rest of the forward, I think it might go a little. I don't think we'll have to take it sentence by sentence in most of it. I think it'll be a lot easier than this. I think this beginning, and I think the beginning of next session will be the hardest, where they're talking about the absolute and the absonite. These are the really hard for us to understand. I think when they're talking about paradise and about, then it'll make much more sense to us.
他说下一次开头的部分有可能是比较难的，什么觉限啊，有限、觉限，无限啊，就这些概念啊，这些比较抽象的概念，这个比较难。当然我们就是再往后其他的概念就容易一些，希望吧，这是很抽象的哲学概念。but they are very intriguing. I mean, they are very fascinating as well. That's good stuff.
Yeah, it's stuff you won't read anywhere else. That's for sure.
对，说在别的书当中都见不到的。对 ，That's the treasure of Urantia Book offers.
But
Okay.
I also think it's like going to graduate school. It's like when we get to the Urantia world, we'll have I think those of us who have read the Urantia book and really studied it will have a little bit of an advantage to, to understanding cosmic realities. We'll like, oh yeah, we learned that in the Urantia book.
那就是我们想进研究生院，就是说进下一个灵智性世界的时候，在学习这些东西的时候，我们可以说哦，这些关于宇宙的实相，哦，我们曾经在《预览下之书》当中学到过，那就比较相当于我们都预习了一样的。那个时候我们有更深的体验，现在我们先预习了一下，对。Yes, of course. We previewed it.
Yeah,
we previewed the reality.
Yes, a sneak preview of what's to come.
Sneak preview. Yeah.
Hey, I see we've got someone named Fiona who's been with us before, I think.
Yes.
So it's nice
Fiona,
to see
yeah.
Fiona again, and I hope this isn't too difficult to come to us when we're reading the most difficult part of the whole book.
That's exciting to chip in this difficult stuff.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I like to avoid difficult things.
Yeah, but you have to, because if you don't, we have no way to even gain this much understanding. So you are pushed behind by us.
Yeah, I have to do it against my will.
Yeah.
No, I'm always amazed that when you start breaking it down, it actually makes much more sense than I think. I understand it much more than I think I will when I start breaking it down sentence by sentence.
对，就是逐字逐句的这种的方法，还是让他获得了更多的洞见。那当然，对这个洞见一定是，跟这个灵性的理解它是在一起的，并不光是语言。这是我非常相信，一定有圣灵带领我们的学习的。所以，是祝福每一个伙伴。
I really that evolutional creature identified supreme thing is a little much for me.
对，关于进化的至高性的呀，这些概念，他说对他也是很难的。
I wish Steve Dreyer was here.
他很希望他的老师那 Steve Dreyer 能够在场，他可以有人去求救了。But
he would understand it.
Spirit. He is with us in spirit. You are still led by him, I believe.
Please, Steve Dreyer, please help us. Please help me, Steve Dreyer.
呼求他的上师来给他加持。
Oh, good. So I hope, Fiona, I hope to see you again. Thanks for coming, and thank you, everyone. And I guess I have to go to work now.
Yeah.
Thank you, Heidi. Thank you very much. Thank you, Ricky.
Thank you, everyone.
See you next week.
See you.
Yeah, see you.
Love you all. Love you all.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Good night. Good dreams.
Good dreams. Sweet dreams. Sweet dreams.
Bye-bye. Thank you.